Hey guys, DibtheAwesome here to give you another Monster Legends Guides, where I talk about monsters' moves, rune sets, partners, all that jazz. Today we are looking at Yilitre, the first monster in the Eldritch Abomination Maze event, and it's the first guide I've done since forever. I just got back from Iowa, had a good time, with my family down in Iowa. We went to a convention, Anime Iowa. That was a lot of fun, and now I'm back in the cities, able to do these videos. Oh yeah! So let's talk about Yilitre today. Now, Yilitre, believe it or not, is based on the mythical creature, the Beholder. Uh, a good example of the Beholder, what this monster really reminds me of, the second form here specifically reminds me of specifically. That's a lot of specificallys. It reminds me a lot of Dark Alliance, Baldur's Gate, and this is the Beholder. Now, if you've played Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, you're a good person. Just straight up the bat, you're good. You're good in my book, because this was a fantastic game. Specifically, when you played with family members. Me and my brother played this game top to bottom. Me and my brother specifically, my brother Cole and my brother Chase, we loved playing this game. This was a lot of fun when we were younger, I should say. Yeah. Good childhood memories. So Yilitre is the first monster. Again, I said that already. What are his benefits? What's the benefits for running this monster? What is this monster? What is his game? This monster is an alright monster, to be honest. He is in the medium, in terms of broken, alright, and terrible. He's in the middle. He's an alright. He's in the category of he is neither bad nor is he extremely broken OP, but he's a really good monster. I will say that he's a really good, alright monster. He's not a bad monster by any means. If anything, he's completely random. That's a good term for it. He could be a huge asset. You could get some really good stuff because, believe it or not, this guy's pretty much Loten, but better. A lot better, actually. And he's the best. I will say this. Right now at the moment, he is the best efficient blinder in the entire game. Now, what do I mean by efficient? Do I mean all the other skills are really, really broken, and that means it complements with his blind? No, I'm actually, in terms of when I say by best efficient, I mean like how long does it take for his AoE blind to come up again? Because that's the hugest thing about this monster, is his ability to constantly blind. Yeah, I'll give you guys an image. This is you, or like let's say the Yilitre fan haters, or Yilitre haters. Let's say these are those guys. This is their current look before fighting Yilitre. This is them after fighting Yilitre. As you can see, between this and this, as you can see, their eyes don't look the best in the world. It's because this guy keeps flashbanging everyone. So that's the hugest thing about him, is his AoE blind. So let's talk about his stats, his moves, what to run, what not to run. This guy's genuinely a debuffer / support, and we'll explore that in this video. His power is 3,355, not the highest power in the game. That's alright. He's not your main source of damage. If anything, he's just constant damage. His damage is present. I won't say he doesn't do any damage. That wouldn't exactly be true, because it's constant. His AoE is only on a 1-turn cooldown. True, is it high amount of damage? No, but it's constant. He keeps hitting people. He keeps blinding people. They can't see. They can't see, and they just keep getting blinded by this thing. Because again, in terms of his blind AoE, it's only on a single turn cooldown. In terms of an AoE blind, that is the fastest AoE blind I have ever. I won't say it again. I've already used the pun three or four times. Like, see, I gotta keep an eye out for new one. So yeah, the power isn't the highest in the world. He's not the main damage dealer. That's all right. But he does do constant AoE damage. It is just constant AoE damage. For the most part, he just keeps doing it. He just never stops doing AoE damage. in terms of every other turn. In terms of that, it's every other turn. But it's just, again, it's just constant AoE damage. Not the highest in the world, but it's just constant. You'll be bothered by it at some point in time. His life is 30,461. This is a remarkable life. This is a really nice life for something that could bother the ever-living piss out of someone. So it's not the most brittle monster in the world. You could say one of its issues, since it's weak to fire, there are a lot of fire damage dealers in this game, so that's not going for it. But it does have a natural defense in the fact that he can AoE blind. So, like, let's say for instance, Shalinar. Let's say someone uses Shalinar against you, and they haven't gotten the chance to set up with the precision. They never got their support never gave their Shalinar accuracy boost, and you have them blind currently. Even if they do the extra turn skill, there's still a chance that they miss. Now, is it a guarantee that they'll miss? No. It's a 50% more chance they'll likely not hit you. So that's about 0% of living or a 50% chance of living. I would take the 50% more chance of living from a 0% chance of not living. I don't know about you guys, that's what I would take. So again, this life, it's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. You can get a lot of stuff done with this. It means if you put a life rune on it, especially a really good one, it'll scale a lot better. It'll make it sure he's out there longer. And like I said before, his AoE damage is constant. So you'll just keep bothering people, and they can't just spontaneously kill it unless they single target it out immediately, or they have double damage buff up with a high attacker and what have you. But alright, pretty alright life, I'm not gonna lie. That's really awesome life. Its speed is 3,476. This is Denier speed. This is the same speed as Lamu, same speed as Sarah. This monster can compete with those monsters in its nature category, and that's what's really nice about it. Of course, it's a matter of who's running the better runes, you could say. It's what matter comes down to that. If they ever do have to deal with this thing, it's going to bother them. Simply because he has tools that can deny Lamu's single target possession. His AoE blind can really bother Sarah, because that means Sarah can't really single target stun. If he's faster and he does the blind on her, she can't necessarily stun him with 100% chance at that point. It's like a coin flip if she'll even hit the move. This is a really, really nice speed. It's just a really good denier speed. Would you say he's a denier? Like in the set at the beginning in the video, I said he was kind of like a debuffer / support. He's not necessarily a deny, but at the same time, though, there's a chance he can deny. Like I said before, he's also a better. He's pretty much improved Lawton, so you're going to see that pretty soon, that he's really efficient of doing random stuff, and there's a chance that he can actually deny your enemy monsters. Completely random, though. His ultimate, I win. Can I just say I love I love the names of these moves. We have I win, I see your problem, I am so shiny. This guy has a bunch of funny names for moves. It's because it all has to do with I. You could say I am a huge fan of this monster. In terms of moves. But yeah, I win. Deals massive nature damage to all enemies, may blind all targets. Healing effects hurt target for 3 turns. So basically, it does everything this guy could ever do in one ultimate. Or like the main point, the blinding's constant. That's what this ultimate does. And it puts a stack of negative healing on them for 3 turns. So for 3 turns, if they were a recovering life, they'll only take damage from it, not necessarily heal it. This is fantastic for against nature monsters. Things like Ulcis, things like Oros. They can't regen their life. This bothers them to death. That like they can't use their healing moves without getting hurt. If you use this in a fight, in terms of let's say your fight, your enemy brought it like a judgment, they can't use their life regen. They cannot use their healing unless they want to take a lot of damage, because of this status effect. So it's really, really nice. It doesn't, I wouldn't say the damage is the most part you look into. You look into the fact it does plague, and it does 50% chance to blind. So this is really, really great if you get this turn 1. If you can get this turn 1, you're really good, you're all set. Or when you're out of stamina. I'd say, like, save it for when you're out of stamina. That's why it gives you something to do, and by that time the game's probably over at that point. So yeah, I'd say if you have it right away, keep it in your pocket. Wait till you see the right opportunity to use it. I'm sorry. We will talk about one skill in skill groups 1, or let's say 2. So this is here's the first one. It removes all negative status effects, gains stamina regeneration. This is a 0-turn cooldown, 28 stamina costing move. This is good in terms of dealing with deities, nothing else. Or like let's say your Timeron. Gives you something to do. If you're using some of the higher costing AoE moves, this keeps you going, this keeps you moving. I'm going to say this move is optional. It also removes any burns that he suffers, or any, DOTs. This can save you from them. Only momentarily, of course. It depends if they're still blinded or not. You better hope they're still blinded by the time you use this self skill. That's all I have to say. But yeah, this is utilities move. You run this for utility's sake, for self-utility's sake, just for him. I see your problem. This is, applies 1 random negative effect to target. It requires a cooldown of 1 turn, 26 stamina, and it does 0 damage. That's right, folks, it does 0 damage. Does that mean you don't run the skill? You run the skill. Here's why. He is not your main damage dealer. He is your supporter. Or like he's some kind of debuffer. You could say he's a debuffer slash supporter. Specifically for dark types. He's mostly supports for dark types. But you do run the skill simply because of the following. He does have a skill like this in skill groups 3. It applies 1 random negative effect. The difference is it's a higher cooldown and a higher stamina cost. You run this skill because it's less stamina cost, less cooldownage, and you can just use it constantly pretty much. If you get cooldowns activated, you're gonna have that after you move. When it's your next turn again, you get this. You get your AoE back. You get your random shenanigan AoE that can either save your enemy, like you can not necessarily save them. Let's say if like something that has nothing that can benefit you, let's say you get like toxin or something that doesn't help you in your current situation. Let's say they're not blinded, let's say they're not stunned, slowed. Again, it's just completely random. But at times you can get frozen, you can get possessed, you can get 100% energy drained, stunned. It's just, again, completely random chance. It totally depends on what you actually get. I do believe, like, with random chance, there's a chance, yeah, this right here, Illuminati confirmed, you get a chance to actually apply a better plague. Like, this is pretty much a plague, but 100 times better. So you have a chance to get that. So that's nice. You do run this skill. This is an important skill to run. Look at me now. Removes all negative status effects from allies and gives them immunity to possession and nightmares. Now this is a really, really good support skill. Not in terms of nightmares. Nightmares are, in all honesty, the nightmare status effect is irrelevant. It's not important. It doesn't do you any. It's like 5. The DOT is like 5%. It's not a good DOT. But that's not the key point of it. It removes all debuffs. So if you're blinded, if you're burned to death, if you're just oozing with DOTs, if you're just like you have a whole lot of stuff, unhealthy stuff on you, this is the move to clean you, and it gives you immunity to possession, and it's like an advanced immunity to possession. It makes you immune to Hackster shenanigans. That's a really, really nice AoE because of that. Simply because of that, it gives you immunity to possession. So if your comp doesn't necessarily have the best, like, let's say your attacker is not immune to possession, but it's a really good attacker without any extra turn scales, run this monster with that. Specifically, if it's a dark attacker, you run the skill. It's just what you do. It's just a safety skill, and it protects. It pretty much protects everybody. It protects everybody from Hackster. This is an AoE deal. Now, at least it says it's an AoE presence. Wording versus actual text. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say which one it actually does. but you know, it's just the thing. You feel weaker. Deals moderate special damage, healing effects, hurt target for 3 turns. This is spammable. It's a 3-turn effect on a single person, on a single enemy. Whether or not you want to run the skill is up to you. Basically, this skill only goes for monsters that heal, so mostly nature monsters and Oros. Incognita, what have you, whatever has a regeneration skill. Specifically, that new team race monster that just came out, that Beast Rule one. Yeah, that's irrelevant. I'm gonna say that's relevant. You can use it against that. You have the option of running the skill. Is it his best utility skill? It's situational. It can be really, really great at times. It can do you no good at times. So that's up to you whether or not you want to run it. I see your destiny. Deals low nature damage to all enemies. This is a 25 damage AoE. It's a 2-turn cooldown and 39 stamina, by the way. It deals low damage to all enemies, not the point of the move. Removes all positive stat effects from all targets. This is the main point of the move. So, removes positive effects from enemies. And it gives the weakness to darkness to all your enemies. So this is a really, really nice support skill for dark, like it's in terms of dark utility, or in terms of what your attacker, if it's specifically a dark attacker or a monster with dark attack moves like Javelin, they go well with this monster. They absolutely adore this monster because he can do this. It applies a weakness to dark, and then they take 80% more damage. Now you can actually run monsters that only do dark damage, namely Heyman, namely Losty Ghost, or that have really, really strong hitting dark moves, like Ringer's AoE Bleed, that's a 70 damage base. They love this weakness. It makes their damage more relevant, more constant, and just better overall. It just helps their performance great, because now they don't have to worry about the enemy dark monster, because now they can just beat the crap out of them with this. And it's nice. It helps them a lot. This is specifically for dark monsters. You can also run it too for the sake of just removing positive effects. Now, people run like AoE, damage boost, AoE, precision boost. You just run this skill to get rid of that. Or buff the damage of dark attackers. And the really nice thing is, a lot of the monsters that are in this current maze are dark monsters, so they just scale well with Yilitre. So basically, if you pick up Yilitre and then you pick up Fognar, you get you have a good combo pair right there. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, Fognar. That's literally how I pronounce it. This Cloud dude. He did, his stats did change, so he's not terrible anymore. In terms of base stats, they're probably just his real stats to begin with now, and that's all good. He's a all good monster. He's basically real Razorface with evasion skills, and that's really nice, really great, not bad at all. This scales well with it scales well with the Elder Rich monsters. It scales well with dark monsters again. Enough said. I am so shiny. Deals moderate special damage to all enemies. May blind all targets. It's a 1-turn cooldown. 30 damage. 35 stamina cost. This is, again, the best, constant, efficient AoE blinder in the entire game because of this skill. It's on a 1-turn cooldown, and it blinds everybody. It's so efficient. If you get cooldowns activated, don't matter. This thing comes back up again in a turn. Having a 1-turn AoE presence is really, really nice, especially if it gives off a really, really strong status effect. Blind is really, really nice because you have a 50% more likely chance not to get hit by anything. That means you have a 50% likely more chance not to die. And that's really, really nice. It's just good utility. Now, at the moment, in terms of blinding, in terms of the blind status effect, and in terms of the precision status effect, right now at the moment, I don't know if this is a bug or this was intentional, but if it was intentional, it's so stupid. But basically, at the moment, if you blind someone and they do AoE precision, it doesn't remove the blind. It actually just makes it so it's even Steven. It doesn't. It's especially if let's say they already have precision up and you blind them, that doesn't go away. It just cancels each other out. I hope that's not intentional. I hope that's just a bug, I hope they fix it, because otherwise it's just really, really stupid. uh, I hope they do fix it. I hope it is just a bug and it's not a permanent spiel. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, once they get the in terms of once they get the FX, especially or like you're fighting a defensive team that doesn't have precision, which would be really beneficial for you. You have a constant AoE presence of blinding, so that you have a really good chance not to get hit by anything, and you have a really good chance of surviving everything. And that's really, really nice. This stacks well with AoE dazing. If you have an attacker, and then there are actually dark attackers that do AoE dazing. You know, ironically enough, even Wotan, you know, the nerf version of this monster, does an AoE daze. That combos well with this, because now they have a 75% less chance to hit ya, and it's just amazing. It stacks really well. And if you have Sunburn, that also stacks. If you're also running Bella Ball or the Patreon monster, or Patron, you know, the cat thing for MMO, that scales well with it. You can do a bunch of little negative accuracy combos with it, blinding, and it's just nice. It helps you live. The only time I've ever seen a Thedes AoE Stamina Devourers miss, it's because of AoE blind. It's just because when she was blinded that she's ever missed that. So that goes well for you. That goes nice. That goes great. I will find you. And we got a you know, Taken quote here. That's funny. Deals heavy nature damage and may stun target. So this is a single target stun. It's on a 1-turn cooldown. This is a very, very efficient stun. I'm going to say for the most part, you might want to think about running it. It's just, you know, good constant control. It's good player control. You can single out things you want to stun. You have the, I'm going to say for the most part, you have the option to run it, but it is a really good single target control skill if you so wished. Mirror of Soul deals moderate special damage to all enemies, applies one random negative effect to target, removes all negative status effects from allies. I did not see this part right here. This remove debuffs. I actually did not see this part of the skill. That's new to me. That's new. But basically, this was the move I said there was no real point in running, because it's basically the same thing as this, except it costs more. It does damage. That's a nice thing about it. But yeah, it was pretty much no different. You know, it's, you know, higher cooldown, what have you. But I'm gonna say you have the option to run it both now. I'm gonna say, like, you know, that was a defensive. I was gonna recommend a defensive set, recommending both anyway. But this helps you a lot because it actually removes negative effects too. I'm gonna say, you know, you can run this on universally any set too. So that just means he has a lot of moves that you want to run on him. But that's, you know, definite. But basically, this is the same thing as Skill Group's one skill. It applies a random effect, but this time it does damage. It costs more. It has a higher cooldown. But the new thing is, I didn't mention, it apparently has now. It removes all negative effects from allies. That's nice. That basically saves you from being sticky lavaed. So I highly recommend saving this move. Put it in your pocket. Save it for when you're sticky lavaed. That's good counterplay right there. I like that. The only thing I don't like about it is the cooldown on it and the stamina cost. So what do I recommend for a moveset? Well, for one, I highly recommend you run I Am So Shiny. It's just a really great support skill, or like a debuff skill, I should say. Like, it's a really good debuff. You should run the I See Your Problems, constant random AoE negative effect presence, and you can blind status effect every other turn. And you can just keep doing that for a while. So yeah, you'd run that. You're on I Am So Shiny. You run I See Your Problem. You run. I'm gonna say you have the option of running. Look at Me Now, and or. I'm gonna say, okay. So for the most part, I'm gonna say this is totally up to you. I'm gonna say for the most part, you should for sure have I Am So Shiny, and you should for sure have I See Your Problems. Everything else beyond that point, I think that's in terms of just personal, want. Do you want an AoE that applies the possession AoE. I'm going to say for the most part, if you wanted a for sure guaranteed build, I'd run I Am So Shiny, I would run I See Your Problems, I would run Look At Me Now, and I would run either the stun and or if I'm using this for dark monsters, I would run the darkness weakness skill. That's just how I would run it. Simply because I really like the stun. The stun's also, it's very nice, it's very situational, true, but if you need something stunned, you should probably, think about running the skill. It's a good war skill. And you might want to consider this for if you want to pair it up with a dark monster. That's mainly why you even use the skill for the most part, is your benefit. Dark monsters benefit from this. So that's a very situational move. So you may find yourself running this more. This is also cooldowns activated safety. It's more so a safety thing. So if you wanted to run Mirror of the Soul, you have a higher risk of being cooldowns activated, so you can't really remove debuffs. If you need to remove a debuff, this is always going to be available to you. You just gotta make sure you have the stamina cost. You just gotta make sure you have the cost for, just like the stamina to use it, because it's a 31 stamina cost. So yeah, here's a defensive set for you. I would run I Am So Shiny, I would run Mirror of the Soul, I would run the I See Your Problems, and I would actually run either Look At Me Now. You may either run Look At Me Now and or I Will Find You. I Will Find You would pretty much guarantee whatever you do, and it's pretty much an AI. If you do it with the I Will Find You, it's pretty much AI idiot proof. It's pretty much a guaranteed chance you're always going to do something good. You're always going to do something nice. So you might want to think about running it in terms of the defensive, count. Like I said before, overall, this monster, while it isn't really bad, it's also, again, it's random chance. I'm going to say for the most part, it's based on your luck. In terms of the other things it can do, random negative effect, it just means like you could do something really, really great, or something really, really irrelevant like magnetism, and while you're not even running any magnetized monsters, it's just, again, really, really random. But it can also be really, really great too. So overall, it's a pretty alright monster. It's a pretty great monster. It's not by any means broken. It's not by any means overpowered. I'd run him full speed. You may also run team rune variations. This is a debuffer / supporter. You have the option to run team runes. You can run team life runes. It is over 29k. My standard is, if you want to run team life on it, it has to be at the very least 29k. It's just a good idea. It's the best. It's a good scaling. Level 7, like right now, like Ukaduma, for example, has around 29k in terms of his life, and with a level 7 and level 5 rune, it's about like 40k plus, and that's really nice. It scales well with that. So yeah, team life. If you want to run team life on it, you can. You have the option to. You can run team strength. In all honesty, if you wanted to run team strength with a dark monster, that's fair. It just increases the damage of your dark monster whenever you have you, so you don't have to buff up. If it's the strength rune's really, really nice, you don't have to buff up. You can just do spontaneous damage with your dark monster and win. So as long as it's a dark based AoE, and you've applied that weakness, and you're all set. Things that counter this thing, anything that can remove status effects constantly, whatever have you. So specifically Ukaduma. I'm looking at Ukaduma right now. Yeah, because you can just easily remove status effects, and I'm gonna say invarv one time. With that AoE, regen and stamina regen. That's on like a 2 or 3 turn cooldown. There's basically anything that can remove status effects on a 1 to 2 turn cooldown, or just really, really efficient of removing debuffs. It's not going to do you any good. Anything immune to blind, literally any single thing immune to blind hinders this thing's success rate greatly, because you can't bother them. They can't be blinded. They can not be bothered by this man's constant blind. That's a thing. Yeah, that's pretty much, for the most part, that's pretty much what counters him, is things that can remove his shenanigans. That's mainly his counter. Again, he doesn't do the most damage in the world, so killing his damage will greatly hinder his success rate. So focus on, I'm going to say for the most part, focus on the damage dealer first, and then focus on this guy, because this guy, realistically speaking, doesn't do the biggest damage in the world. Again, it's just constant damage. He's just there to constantly shoot lasers or flash you with beams of death. That's pretty much it. Partners, real quick. Anything that also does random negative effects, because that's a lot of fun. Run Scar, run Master Skill, run any dark monster that's attacker, you know, what have you. That'll be a lot of fun for you. This thing works really, really well with Krampus. Try him out with it. You'll do a lot of damage with the AoE freeze and AoE sinking shadows. That's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about Yilitre. Overall, good monster, great monster. Not extremely broken, random chance. So he can be either really, really terrible at times, or he could be really, really good. Depends on what he lands with his random AoEs for the most part. But, you know, the most shiny thing about him is his AoE blind. And that's enough said. That's enough that I need to say for this video. Last thing I need to say, if anything, really awesome design. Really love the design of this monster again. I'm DibtheAwesome, and I'll catch you guys later.